Is everybody in airplane mode? I hear a little bit of static.
And I also hear like
something in the back, right?
Yeah, it sounds like something in the background. Is that you?
Check your no. Can you check your computer real quick?
Yeah.
No, we going live with our phones.
But it wouldn't come in here.
Yeah, it's not.
You guys can go live, but you got to use the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is right here. If you use your cell phone, it's gonna be staticky on the audio. You have to go in airplane mode, and then go on the Wi-Fi, and then you can use the Wi-Fi from there. Okay, yeah, it's good now. Yeah, if anybody, you can use this. Will let you use the internet. You got to be in airplane mode though.
Where's the Wi-Fi information again?
Right here.
Oh, there it is. Thank you.
I'm gonna get out of the way.
We are got them.
Cool. All right.
That was a deep one.
Yeah, I know. It's been a long day. It's been a long day already.
It's a Sunday.
He was like, you would think that they know. Yeah, there was truth to it.
No.
I've been getting away with my phone being on for the past couple of weeks.
Okay.
But just telling the truth.
It's different phones. Sometimes the phone's like it's fine, but then other phones that you can really hear it.
Oh, shenanigans.
Cool. All right. I think we're good to go now.
I'm gonna keep it on silent, but I got food coming.
Oh, I mean, you're gonna be okay. The Wi-Fi, it'll work. So you'll still get calls and you'll still get messages. It's just you gotta go in airplane mode because there's two different ways your phone gets messages. It's either through Wi-Fi or through the cellular towers. The cellular tower, the static will bounce around the room and it causes friction. That's why you hear the static sounds. But if you just go in airplane mode, and you're on the Wi-Fi, you'll be fine. You'll get your calls, you'll get your notifications.
Okay, we're good now.
Cool. All right, we'll do 10 seconds of silence. We'll get started.
Can you just let me know?
Hey.
What up, guys?
What up, what up, what up?
Episode 44.
Episode 44, Unpopular Opinions.
Unpopular Opinions. We have special guests in the building. Excuse me. State your name, state your claim. Ladies first.
It's your girl B.Ankha, B.ankha, so everybody gets it.
What up, what up?
And
Thank you for coming.
it's your boy ELUS.
ELUS, what
a.k.a.
up?
the KindGenius.
A.k.a. the KindGenius. What up, what up?
Welcome, welcome.
Q, how are you?
I'm well. How
Sound
about
like
yourself?
Dr. Seuss and shit. How are you? I'm good.
How was the week?
Yo, the week was it was alright. I can do without pre-service and all them PDs, but I'm alright.
Well, you know, we're committed to unremitted learning, so
Teaching these badass kids. Yes.
there's nothing wrong with our children.
Shit.
Well, and how's
I was thinking.
Shit.
and, there's nothing really wrong with them. These kids be doing what they see us do.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
How was y'all week?
Long. I ain't gonna hold y'all long. Lack of sleep. That's how I put it. Productive though. It's been good.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're like workaholics, so it's pretty much all we do.
Sleep when you dead is what they say, right?
Facts.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Mm-hmm.
You know. All right, let's get right into it. I don't know why I sound like Cookie Monster right now.
Yeah, you just
that was
transition.
yeah.
Well, no,
Teacher side
not
coming out.
No, not yet. You know, I'm putting you on the spot. Rain, continuation of the birthday month. How's your week been?
It's been
I was gonna wait for her
good.
to settle in.
I
but
know,
Okay.
but that's-
you just put her on the spot.
That's what I said I was going to do.
It's still Leo season. It ends on Tuesday. So, shout out to all the Leos out there.
Shout out to all
poppin',
of you.
Rain?
What's
What up?
poppin'? Elus, what's good?
up?
Bianca, what's good? What's good?
One of my favorite Leos too. Facts.
All right, salute. Sorry, I'm tardy to the party.
Tardy to the party. So good. Where's
I was listening to Bianca on the way here though.
Oh yeah.
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 Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Nice.
Word.
Well, let's get right into it. So Bianca, tell
Yes.
us about yourself. How did you get into?
Well, a long time. No, we're not doing that. Okay. No, but I mean, music, as everyone says, I know it's kind of basic, but it's in our blood. Like, you're born with it. You know when you're born with it. So, as a little girl, I will always be dancing and singing in front of the TV or something in that case. So, it's always been in me. But as I got older, it's hard because you want to do what's popping and you don't want to be like the weirdo.
Yeah.
So for me, that was weird. Like, everybody was dancing at the time, so I'm like, oh, I could dance too. I'm not even dipping into the singing thing. I would sing at home, but people around me didn't really know that unless you knew me personally. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was always the dancing, until I saw how everyone dancing. So it's like, now what am I gonna do? And I always had my mom in the back of my head, like, or right behind me, literally, like, girl, don't forget you could sing. Like, that could be a route. You just sing and then you show them you a triple threat when you get up there. So I had to, find my little screws to make me into this superstar. So that's when I just, after high school and everything like that, I just transitioned into actually taking it serious, like the singing itself, and like forget about the dancing. And then I met, the KindGenius over here, who definitely gave me some words of wisdom and a lot of tools to be a better artist. So
Okay.
I could come here
Dope.
with you guys.
Dope.
How'd you guys meet? How'd you guys link up?
A studio session.
Yeah.
A mutual friend of ours. He's an engineer friend. He was actually working with her. Prior to that, she actually worked with my cousin, sidebar, in a video
Yeah.
of another engineer artist friend of mine. And I was just like, oh, she's dope. She got a voice. But that was it. You know what I mean? I was just like, I left it like that. I didn't know it was her.
And he was hella mean at our first studio session. I just
I'm
wanna
always
put that
mean.
out
That's
there.
Really?
yeah,
I never get mean from you, really.
I'm business. I'm straightforward.
Oh,
I'm
like,
business. So it's
okay.
like, it comes off as mean, but
Yeah, he was just like pressing the button.
Plus,
I'm
I was
like,
irritated with the mutual
Yeah,
friend.
yeah.
She didn't know that, but I was irritated with him.
I was
It was
like,
like on some
damn.
last minute setup with the session. I'm like, all right, I got
Okay.
you. So it was nothing to do with you.
No, I thought it was like a guy thing. Like, engineers usually record rappers, so it was like, oh, I gotta listen to this girl sing the whole time.
Nah,
I thought it was that thing, so I'm like, damn.
That's
nothing to do with
interesting.
you. Nothing. To
But
do
then you
with
guys ended up bonding somehow.
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
like,
because
oh, her voice
his
is
mixing
incredible.
was dope, like so dope, and he was like, this is like a video game for me, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah, word.
I have a question though. So since I used to think I can sing,
Uh-huh.
and when I was in, so I was curious. When was that? If you can remember that moment where you had that confidence, where you're like, oh shit, I can really sing. Like,
Yes,
what
I
was that moment?
definitely can remember. I was like 13 and I wrote my first song. I actually taught myself how to play like the keyboard, like from YouTube.
Oh.
And I just, from there, I found like a couple of keys that I liked and I just wrote to it. And my mom, of course, she was always like, your mom's always there to support you. So she was always like, you need to be singing that or something. And I would sing backwards at first. I didn't like to have people right in front of me and I'm singing like that's just too much going on for me. Like it was too much, so I would sing backwards. Then when I wrote that song, I sang forward for the first time. So I feel like that was the real leap for me where I was like, okay, I could sing.
So what's that like singing backwards?
Like literally, you're sitting
He's
down in
turning
front of
back.
me and I'm
He's turning
standing
backwards.
backwards.
Oh, got
Yeah.
it. I'm about to,
When
oh,
she
okay.
said that, I was like,
I was about to say,
Yeah,
I
I
was
was
like, okay, I get it.
like literally singing standing backwards. Yeah.
Oh snap! That's
It
what's
was-
up.
What do you
Yeah,
mean?
I
Like
was
you were
like-
standing, so someone
Like you
someone
guys are
saying,
sitting here, right? And I'm facing that way.
And you're
singing.
facing that way.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That was just to kind of get over the fear or something?
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
I
okay,
was
okay.
very fearful because I didn't know if I was good enough. That's what it is. I'm sorry. I wasn't saying enough. But yeah, it's like I felt like I wasn't good enough. So it's like I don't know. I don't know what people's gonna think. I don't know what they're gonna say. What if my voice cracks? Or like it's a lot running through my mind. So I'm just like, I don't know. Then when I wrote the song and I played it, I actually sang like with no issue. From then on, I just wanted to sing everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
you mentioned dancing. Did it feel like did you dance in front of people, and did it feel like a different type of
Dancing was so easy. I could dance in front of anybody. Like I never had any fear with dancing. That's why it was so like it came natural.
Yeah, my
The
confidence,
singing is where I had to like it was a process.
What made you like think that singing was different than dancing? Like what?
Because your voice can crack. If you mess up a move in dancing, you just freestyle it off. Like
you
no one will ever know.
like you can forget it.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I guess I just had more confidence in the dancing, I guess. You could
Because
say.
you were doing it longer.
Yeah. I was doing it first, actually. Because I would just, do little covers of people like that, but I never let anyone hear me to tell me, like, okay, you're good. I just would do it, like, for fun.
So you started writing at 13 as well? Dope. Because
Yeah.
I can hear it. That's what makes I feel like the project dope is the fact that you can tell that it's coming from you.
Yes.
And a lot of, R&B singers don't normally, but I would say the majority of the popular ones don't really write.
Right,
But I
yeah.
think the ones that stand out are the writers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think overall, the album is dope.
Thank you.
Word.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think you penned it from the heart,
Yeah.
so it's dope,
Thank you. That makes me feel so good because that was my goal. Like, I really wanted people to see that I'm putting literally everything I have inside of me into my music and into my songs and the way I structure my songs and the type of words that I do choose to use. So things like that, really, I appreciate that people can nitpick and see that like it shows.
Right, dope, for sure.
So I know that you consider yourself like an R&B like singer and songwriter, but I noticed that you have a couple of songs out there that some folks would consider like rapping.
Yeah. I
so
am an
how does
artist.
that? Okay.
Yeah. I've learned that I have to definitely make that known because then you just get put into a certain category. And I definitely don't want to do that because I have times where, like, my friend will get me mad and I hear a beat and I just rap. Just the rapping comes out and I'll hear a song and I want to sing. Or, like, even the genre of music. Like, when I was younger, I honestly wanted to be a country singer.
Oh,
like,
shit.
Taylor
That's
Swift
funny.
and that whole little phase was all me. Like, I wanted that. But it's like that wasn't my look or that wasn't like what I was mainly producing when I was singing. So it's like
I mean, look at Lil
But
Nas.
I'm about to say you
Yeah,
still
yeah,
can.
yeah.
You
You
still
might be killed
can.
that's why I wanted to
He made it possible.
dive into the I'm just an artist thing
Yeah.
because it's like, okay, I could do anything. I don't want to be like strapped down to one thing.
You don't want to be boxed in. I can
Yeah,
dig it.
definitely.
Well, one of the tracks I like is "I'm Good." I actually posted
Word.
it up. Like I listen to a bunch of shit, so whatever I put up, I always put it on my IG. The hook is fire.
Thank you.
was
Thank
dope,
you so
dope.
much. I'm Good was definitely one of my top 5 tracks.
So with that, right? So question. So what inspires you to write the songs? Like what puts you in that mode?
Well, at first, I would start with like a topic thing. I would just think of like a common topic. But more now, I would do like situations. Like if something happened, now I'll just write it down in a note in my phone. And then later on, I'll just hear a beat and I'll see all the situation lists that I have. And then I'll just pick something from there and start writing about it.
Okay.
That's honestly how it starts, yeah.
Anybody have questions?
So in the next couple of years, can you allow us?
I didn't.
Like what type of so you're now like making your stamp into the industry. Like what type of artist do you want to be considered like within the next 5 years?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good question.
Good question.
Yeah, right? She hit me with it. Okay. In the next 5 years, all right, I'm going to be realistic. So I know I'm not going to be Beyonce yet. So I'm going to knock that out.
Don't limit yourself.
No, but
You might be able to pass. She said
Said yet though.
Set the
Key
stage.
word.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
said
yeah.
yet.
Taken.
Like, so,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
no, but still, even putting a time frame on it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I really shouldn't do that because I should be not limiting myself to anything.
Exactly.
But I do, in the next 5 years, want to see myself bigger than I am today. Like, I want,
course.
even if it's not as big as I can be, I just want it to be better than where I'm at right now. Like, I want more people to know me. I want more people to be singing my music. Like, I want more people to hear me and their situations and how much we could relate and, like, how I could bring what they see and go through out to the world.
So who would you compare yourself to, if any? Because when I listened to it, I heard like Ashanti a little bit.
I get
like
a lot
the
of things.
slang.
I get Rihanna. I get Keisha Cole.
Yeah.
I get a little Beyonce sometimes here and there.
Mary
who else
J.
do I get? Yeah,
Blige.
Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
I get all that.
Queen
realm.
Naja.
There's a
Yeah.
there's a Mary feel
Yeah.
there because of the
Yeah.
writing
Yeah.
and the rawness of the
Yeah.
records. You know.
Yes, that's definitely. Like I would love, like just you guys comparing it to her is
Yeah,
like, oh
definitely
my god, because
Mary,
that's
yeah.
me. Like my favorite part of being an artist is the performance, and I feel like Mary J. Blige, like that's me. Like not to like dumb it down or anything, but she be acting like she be up there like acting like she be getting it. And that's like people like to see that. Like
Yeah.
that's Mary. Like that's
Right.
Mary J. Blige. That's
You
the
forget
feeling
that
I
she
want.
can't dance.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
You just had to say that.
You forget
She
she
has
can't
a
dance.
signature
I feel like she
two-step,
has her
okay?
own-
Respect,
she got a whole
respect the
routine
Mary
at this-
two-step, all
She
right?
got my like a drunk auntie's two-step. Like
Yeah,
you
but-
gotta
I
sit
cannot.
down.
Why she gotta be
you
drunk,
gotta-
though?
No, but see,
Cause she be killing it in them heels.
But
That's
you
a
see
vibe.
how you just compared her to your auntie?
Yeah,
That she makes you feel like that's
Exactly,
your family,
yeah.
like that you know her.
I ain't knocking it.
That's what I want. Like
I don't
that.
know about these subtle shots that he's throwing
I
at
know.
Mary.
It's
I'm
with
just
the
saying.
artist
Leave
longevity.
Mary alone.
I'm just
Right.
saying she went from doing a real love to that drunk two-step. That was crazy. But I love
But
Mary. I grew up on Mary.
But it's her stamp at this point now,
Definitely.
so it's actually a good thing. For
It
her.
is definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that's dope. I was just curious to know, like, for your future projects, like, what could we expect?
Boy, oh boy.
Right?
She's like,
It's
I
like
just-
rub hands like Birdman.
Just getting out.
We
Just
actually
like-
completed the next project. We're completed
Okay.
with it. We just
Yeah.
handling the business marketing behind it now. You know what I mean? We want to make this a bigger impact. But her vocals
Yeah,
grew.
that's it's
Like,
the
since-
progression.
Yeah.
That's what
Her
I
writing
would
stepped
listen.
up, her vocals strengthened. You know what I mean? Y'all gonna hear the growth.
Okay.
Like it's 10 notches up from life. I ain't gonna hold you.
That's why, yeah, like out here, as an artist, I hear my old music now, and I'm like, you like that? like even you guys saying I'm good,
Yeah.
like I know that's like a classic for me, but like I'm way over that.
Yeah.
Like
I can dig
yeah.
it. That's what's up.
And it's like I feel like personally, I've realized that I have grown and developed quickly. I feel like for me personally.
You seem focused, so it seems like it's something that's gonna come easily.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he really helps. Like, he really, really helps because, you need that person to put the battery in your back. And, like, that's the battery.
My goal with her, I want the world to see her as I see her. Like incredible talent, official, like you feel what I'm saying? It's starting, it's forming, slowly and surely.
It's
Word
slow
up.
for me. Like, other people can tell me that all day, but I'm, like, my biggest critic. So,
Of course.
it's hard for me to
Stay
be
that way.
like, okay, yeah, you're right. Like, I'll be like, oh, really? But it's like, it takes me probably months to realize what you just realized in that
Yeah.
one moment of hearing, like, one song. So, it's
So are you managing or how's it?
I'm her manager.
Okay,
Yep.
dope.
Producer, engineer.
Yeah.
You know.
So how does that dynamic work in the studio? Like he sometimes be talking so much you want him to shut up, or
Yeah, he be
Yeah.
getting on my nerves.
Definitely
he
do.
surely do
All
be
the
getting on my
time.
nerves all the time.
Yeah.
But I feel like everybody goes through ups and downs in relationships. So if we didn't have that, that would be weird to me.
Right.
It's like, all right, what's his plan? Like he's being a
Yeah.
little too like walking on eggshells around me. But he'll tell me like it is, and that's what I feel like I need.
Yeah.
So that's why I love like us together. We create very good. So it's just like anytime we get excited to
Yeah.
be just even around each other, like just the genuine vibe. That's why I knew from day one, like he was somebody that I definitely needed around me for my career and for my personal life. Cause he's a genuine person. Like,
that's what's up.
Facts.
yeah.
It's funny. I was in like listening to some of your music. The YouTube stream was playing, so you were caught another interview that you did, and I was wondering who the person was that you were speaking about because you mentioned
Oh.
something to the effect of him saying like, "Don't even
Yeah.
trust."
Yeah,
Me,
yeah.
Yeah, don't trust me. I told her that.
Yeah, my
Don't even
first
trust
time.
me.
He said,
Facts.
"Don't trust nobody in this game. Don't even
Real
trust
talk.
me."
And I respect the fact that you like. It seems like you're trying to teach her
Yeah.
as well
Yeah.
about the industry as well
Definitely.
as like groom her in the industry.
Definitely.
Yeah, because I'm
Absolutely.
not gonna lie, people like even like seeing our closeness. Sometimes people get the wrong idea or they just think negative about the whole
Right.
entire situation. But the fact, like literally what you said, that's what it is, and like you can see that, so it's very evident.
So when you say that, like, don't even trust me, like, what do you?
Yeah,
What
Well-
do you mean by that?
She can trust me, but be on your toes.
Yeah.
One of the things I learned young in life, change is constant, right? So within the change, we could change, our dynamic could change, or whatever it is, the growth. The love is gonna always be there. I always tell her that, regardless of the business shit, like, I got you. Like, you feel what I'm saying? But just be on your toes. Don't trust anybody outside of yourself. Now, that don't mean you gotta have a guard up. You feel what I'm saying? But you gotta have a guard up.
Yeah.
That's all. Just be on your toes, because it's real. Word.
In the words of Q,
That's right.
point taken.
That's cute.
You
That's
quiet, bro. What's up?
That's cute.
Yeah, I was.
Chilling. I'm so
Reef,
good.
what up?
I'm not gonna ask you to
I'm
tell
here,
these people
bro.
what
I'm
you
good.
said your favorite song was, though, as a child, B.Ankha.
Oh, that's my favorite question to answer.
Oh.
Everybody knows my favorite song as a kid was the thong song. To this day, I am gonna make a remix.
That's
too.
why-
I kid you not, I'm making a remix.
I had to get her to say it.
No, really though.
Give me any advice.
Yeah. Watch, I'm gonna get me something to play the VHS tape in. I have it. I'm in front of the TV. I kid you not. I put that on everything.
So you know what? I just felt super duper old right now.
That shit is one verse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Noticing
the
too.
whole
Yeah.
song.
Years
The whole
later,
song is one verse.
That's how you know that shit was fire.
And the video, all the
It's like, you
flying
got
and
another
stuff we
verse.
did, I was so lit.
I
At
don't
the
even
Now
fucking
I'm
remember
playing it
any
in
of
my
that
head.
stuff.
One verse.
All I remember
Silver
is Neon
hair.
Green.
That was a big
That's the only
hit
thing I
though.
That
remember.
was, though. That was.
He had platinum on his head. That's
So
crazy. He
vocal
had platinum
ambitious, bro.
waves. He had platinum waves.
Wow. I love you for one of those. 'Cause I think
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Thanks.
I'm thinking you gonna say like a Land Before Time or some
No,
shit.
That's why I know
Before
everyone's
Time is a
always
song?
shocked. But
You
it's
know, there's a
so
song, the theme song, Diana Ross. I was thinking of some. I don't know. My old ass, right?
Yeah, that was super old, bro. Ain't no like favorite song.
All right. You ain't got to drag it, Reef.
You know I'm comfortable.
Anyway,
I don't like how people call the 90s old school. That's just a sidebar. I'm kind of offended on that. That's not old school,
I
damn
mean,
it.
it's 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not old
I mean,
school.
it-
Chill out.
It's
damn
ageism
it.
and
I
people
can't
not
accept
having
it. I
it's-
don't want to accept it.
It's people not having anything like an adjective to define what's the in between,
Right.
Right? It's
Yeah.
ageism because that's why they be counting people out at 40.
Yeah.
We gotta find other
That's
ways to
messed
like
up.
define.
That's
Shit was
real.
30 years ago. That shit is old, man. I can't even front.
Damn. 30 years, though. Shit. It is old.
Yeah, that shit 30 years ago.
All right, you ain't got to
I
keep
mean,
saying it's
you
old.
know,
Hip hop
I'm
itself is not
I'm
that old.
I'm old as dirt.
You
Fuck
say
that.
that shit for yourself.
Yeah, you said it for yourself. He was about as
I
old
still
as
got
you
half
feel.
of my
That
lifespan to
old
reach.
Right.
Shit.
So you middle aged basically? That's old as shit.
I'll be middle aged at
Uncle
50.
Drew right here.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
I got some time.
Maybe.
So before we segue, I have one question to ask. Like, so as far as the state of R&B now, for me, to take it back to the whole '90s thing, like that's the like R&B that I kind of like grew up on, and all that. So I was just curious to know what's your thoughts on the state of R&B now as a R&B,
I don't
as an
think
artist.
I don't think it's there right now,
Why you
like
say
at
that?
all. I feel like now, I mean, LMA and like amidst of those kind of artists have tried, like they are trying to pave the way now. So I feel like maybe in the next 5 years we might have that 90s realm of R&B back, but it's not enough push there. I feel like we just take the initiative where we just go back to the throwbacks, like, oh, just throw the throwbacks on, but it's no new, like, oh wow, that's really 90s right there. Like, you rarely ever hear that nowadays. A lot of people do try it, but it's not. Well, for me personally,
No, I can dig it.
I haven't really seen like a full, like, all right, this is the 90s, like, we back.
Mhm.
I don't see
I
that.
feel like even Kanye highlighted it when he was like trying to drive the push behind Tiana Taylor, right? It was a
Yeah,
little
definitely.
different, but there's something. It's funny because even in listening to your music, something that I recognize that you do is switch up your flow, even with like singing, which
Yeah.
is not common with R&B, right? It's something that you'll find in rap and stuff like that, and it makes me wonder if there's like. If R&B is going through this phase of trying to redefine itself. Because if you think about, like, the videos back in the day, SWV, like, they used to shoot that shit, like, it used to feel very club scene-like. So it feels like you could go to the club and hear that shit and rock with it. You know what I mean? Even when you think back at some of the greatest hits, like Jade and Walk Away, like, this is all shit that you considered R&B, but that shit would be banging in a club, too.
Yeah.
And I think like there was something with like us not being able to connect with that music in a mutual space that made it lose its popularity. So, but there's
No,
something
I
about
agree,
like
yeah.
artists like you who are coming and like changing the way that it's done. It's important because
I feel like everything when you're going to, I guess, say duplicate it, you have to put a little twist on it because it has to be something different or something that like sparks the attention of other people. Where it's like, oh, I see the vibe from before, but they fucked that shit up. Like, you know, like that twist gave it what it needed. Like it's R&B, but that's hot. And I feel like with my music personally, I just try to make it, I guess you could say 3 R's: relatable, R&B, and real. So if you get all of that in one song, I feel like you could play that anywhere, to be honest. Because the different type of songs that play in the club and outside the club, like it's all everything now. Like it really doesn't even matter. Because they'll put a slow song on a fast beat.
And Pop Smoke. Or Pop Ray doing after that.
That's
right.
crazy.
To the party. No.
When we jump in the bubble. Oh God.
He's popping. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's the voice. It's not the words.
Nah, it's just whenever we hear that song, our students were in the video, so whenever I hear the song, I always,
so you think of that? Oh, that's cool though.
I mean, it is
kids.
for them.
It's for them, yeah. But it's just like, come on for you guys. Like, yeah. No, it's like do better.
That's how it sounds like.
It's funny because I challenged we did a team builder the other day for pre-service, and I challenged the team. I was like, I can give y'all a song to do karaoke on, and I gave them the Pop Smoke song.
That's funny.
I would be terrible at that.
They were like, nope, we will not.
We will not. All right. Anybody else? Questions for Queen B.Ankha?
All right, so would you prefer...
All right.
No, because this is always, like, I always try to ask artists, and don't give, like, the answer that you think we want to hear. Like, keep it totally fun. Would you prefer commercial success or, like, the respect in the game? Like, somebody that's going to, you know, sell 5-10 million copies, but not be, you know, take it with a grain of salt because it's kind of watered down because of the industry, or you want to be 20 years from now where it's like, nah, yo, like, B was the shit, like, you can't.
I think that the real one goes a longer way versus the commercial. And I kind of, like, I've been feeling in the last, like, 2 years, I want to say, that the commercial route is very stressful and hard on an artist. Like, it kind of drains them. So that scares me all the time as far as, like, do I want to deal? Do I want to get signed? Do I want to go that, like, the go-to route? Because I don't want to stray away from myself. Yeah. And, you know, people will say that, but you never know what's going to happen when you do get into that situation. So that always scares me, where I feel like I'd rather have somebody 20 or 40 years from now know who I was, and I didn't even make it to that commercial realm. You get what I'm saying? Like, that respect and that love, I feel like, goes a long way, because people are always going to remember that. Because there's some people that are in the commercial limelight, and people still don't know who they are. And there's some people that, like, I don't want to bring Nicki Minaj up, but you know the whole, like, oh, who's Don Q? But she do a song with Pop Smoke. Like, little things like that. It's like that's like always the barrier for me, where I feel like I just hide away into I'd rather just be respected and, like, known, instead of, like, being in the limelight and, like, I'm really not even happy. So
I know people that keep it totally fun. Like, nah, I want the money. Fuck that. Like,
I mean, I get it, but I'm a person where, like, my motto within the last couple of months especially is, if I cannot control it, I'm not stressing it. So any stress, I do not want that at all. Like,
message.
I'm good off that.
She's been teaching me that. I ain't gonna front.
Yeah, I've been trying to. Even at work, like, managers and stuff like that, I'm like, y'all got to do better in here. Like,
yeah, managers be stressing out, man.
Yeah.
Managers.
It's the job.
Managers.
Managers.
What
Sound like a sub.
Who you subbing? Who you want to be?
Q. But moving forward, though, it's funny that you mentioned Nicki Minaj. We were. I wanted to discuss some of her endeavors this week. So she won. She had Joe Buttons on her platform, which I just got into, Queen Radio, and quite interesting. I will say this, though. I know I've been critical of Nicki as far as, like, her material, but I just think it's her legacy and, like, what her stance is on hip hop. I feel like she's not doing it any justice when she acts like that. Like, that was a lot. Like, understand,
Joe?
It was the way, it was just crazy. I get it. Like, Joe has said some fucked up shit, but it's just like,
what did he say about
The only reason why I could concede
but
is that
his ways.
because it was messy. So
It was.
to me, she had a right. I like that she's gotten to a certain point where, even though I don't feel like there's it's coming from here.
Definitely.
Like her, like I love Nicki, and I defend her often, but there's a disconnect as an artist, in my opinion. That's why people they don't rock with her, because like how you said that you're looking for the 3 R's: relatable, real, and R&B, right? Mm-hmm. She doesn't come across as relatable. At all. Somewhat as a woman, you can relate to a degree. I can't, only because I know what women go through in the game, right? Mm-hmm. But she doesn't come off as real. It comes off as disingenuous and phony. Even though she's so New York. To me, when she was popping off, I got New York from her. Like right. I got myself. Like when she was popping off, I'm like, the only difference between me and her is that I would have been way tighter though. I feel like her shots were like all over the place. So it's like, if you're gonna pop on Joey for getting at you, because he got at her mad times over the years, then make a strong argument just for that. Like she was like all over.
It was hard to follow.
Yeah. I think she sullies her name even doing shit like that, because it's like you've reached the upper echelon of shit. Like when people's on the radio popping shit about Hov and doing all that shit, Hov is not about to come on and be like, "Oh, well, you did." Like you've reached the upper echelon.
But I don't respect that either. I like people who respond back.
Discussing you, the peons are supposed to discuss you.
You're right.
You are at the tippity top of the game. You're on the Mount Rushmore of women's rap. People are gonna like bicker about you and gossip about you. And that shit comes with the territory. You can't be on it. Oh, but you said, yo, I'm the queen right now. That
but
shit
see,
is
it's different.
Happen.
It's different though for her though.
Shit.
I feel
talk about me. If they not talking about you, that's the problem.
But she doesn't have that problem. They all talking about her, so it's different for her because it kind of adds to her brand to talk. Right now, it does because the industry has tried to get rid of her. Mm-hmm. If you're not really watching, you gotta watch like.
That's a fact.
They're trying to get rid of her.
She writes her own stuff.
Right, and she does. And people try to say, oh, she does this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, she's still very relevant. Mm-hmm. The only thing that she's done correct, in my opinion, when dealing with everything, from Cardi to the industry trying to like pit them against each other, to the only thing that trumps everything is one thing that she said, is the work. Nicki has non-stop put out work consistently the entire year. So you could talk mad shit, but I'm on this record, I'm in London on that record, I'm on that record, I'm on the Pop Smoke record, I'm on everything popping, because I understand that you can't get rid of a person at a certain level who's working. Everything else though, if she was just tighter with her with her argument, I would rock. I mean, I rock with her anyway, but if she was just tighter, it would have came off more, because see, people who are not really following, they look at it like, what the fuck is she talking about?
She seemed too bothered to me. You're letting them know
that distracts people from the art that you're creating.
Hov would have dropped a couple subliminals.
You can't compare her to Hov, because Hov.
She is that.
No. I'm saying, but Hov, I don't totally respect that either. I don't totally respect people who don't say shit either.
Drake, it's like y'all are Drake, and I don't even mean to be exactly. Soulja Boy did that whole shit. Did you hear Drake say anything about that? Nah, nigga, because I'm fucking Drizzy Drake, man. You still Soulja Boy. You not even in my fucking, like, no disrespect to Joe Budden, but I'm fucking Nicki Minaj.
But now here's the difference, though. Here's the difference, though. Like, she's entering in the media realm. Queen Radio is the media realm. So that is the only. See, the thing about it is she doesn't have a direct, like, she's not conveying being genuine, and she's not conveying like a real connection with the passion of it, right? But she's going another route. So her talking shit is what's making Queen Radio even pop.
I think she comes off as like, I'm sorry, I just want to say, like, she comes off as like she feels threatened by like the competition coming in.
It's working. That's something else. We're talking about Joe though.
No, but I'm just saying like how she came off in that interview. It came off like she was just threatened by everything, so it was just weird for her to come off like that.
Even with using that platform to maybe showcase, like, okay, this is another area that I can go or take this. Like, even with that, it requires some type of poise and composure so that you can show folks.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying she lacks those genuine things that.
And she's so talented, so it's so strange that like she doesn't have people on her team supporting her just with the public relations aspect. But I think, but I also think that this is in all honesty, like a black woman's cry for help in a way that like it's strange because I don't know. I'm having an interesting week paying attention to black women in media, and I think oftentimes it plays out a little differently. I think that's why people don't understand Lauryn Hill and what she and how it is that she has moved to the place in which she moved, right? I think there's just a different type of struggle that's
unbeknownst to the world.
Yeah, that. You haven't used the word in a minute, though.
Yeah.
Well, it's a
Excited I
blatant
bring it
struggle.
back, you know what I'm saying?
We struggle with, colorism. We struggle with sexism. We struggle with like all these things that people like tend to like act like is non-existent, and then, not defending her. I didn't see the entire thing. I heard the main clip and it was just I felt like she was good to pop on him because he does talk a lot of shit, not only about her, and no one has ever really got at him about how he is with women. So
she mentioned that, actually.
Right,
yeah,
and I felt like,
did mention that.
right, so if it was tighter, it would have been better received is all I'm saying. I think she has a right to, I think she has a right to pop on him because no one ever gets at him. And he did, what he did try to pit, he's one of them that tried to get rid of, now she's in media. But no, but you can't. Joe's podcast platform is the realest form of him, in my opinion, right? And so that's where he gives his real opinions. Right. But I feel like
that's the most extended exposure we've ever had to him. Usually it was
I'm comparing because he has more than one platform.
Very, orchestrated. Now you just sitting, speaking, and
but I'm saying that's the purest form of him because State of the Culture is not, in my opinion, that's the polished version of him where he pushes it off on his co-host and he'll just plant a seed. But the podcast platform is where he's his real self. And on that platform, he was one of them that was really trying to violate and put the whole Cardi versus Nicki thing. Like he was like taking mad shots. Like, I don't even watch it like that, but I remember those clips went viral, right? So when Cardi's records had dropped, he's the one taking shots like, oh, Nicki don't sound like this, or Nicki shit is trash. He's the one who called the Queen album trash. How is it trash? Because Real Talk, that's one of her better albums. But the industry, in my opinion, shitted on it because everyone was riding with Cardi. But it's the game that does that. In my opinion, it's a game. Women, we have our natural catty things, right? You're gonna as you level up, you're gonna get into these things with other women. But
on the way here.
Just saying. If you guys want to share, but okay. But I'm saying those things are gonna happen, right? But there's a part of that people ignore. That it's the game that perpetuates it.
Oh,
it's the game.
agreed,
and it's also
Rain.
the men. The men will be in your ear like that bitch ain't shit. Like shoot at her. Why not shoot at her? Like why can't I just work with her? You know what I'm saying?
Agreed. But to play devil's advocate a bit. Because
True.
Because I remember like paying attention to what was happening at that time, and I think a lot of the industry didn't pay attention to the Queen album because of the things that Nicki, like how she was
doing the same dumb shit,
drama.
right?
And I'm not saying that the industry didn't didn't do a lot to provoke her. I think like if that were the case, then they succeeded because I think it was her. And
because
like
she was acting like she wasn't on the throne. Girl, you on the throne. All you have to do is work.
Exactly that's what Reef was saying.
And I agree.
It's been a couple of months that she's been acting like that.
It's a contradiction. You can't be the queen top and rocking the crown and in the streets arguing with peasants. It got to be one or the other.
Yeah.
So you doing that, Sully's your brand. You arguing with Joe Budden on the radio. But it's like, damn, and now I'm supposed to listen to your albums about, oh, I'm the queen, respect me. Nah.
And you know what media, all they're showing is that.
And like I'm saying, like the Kings, Hove, Drake, you don't even see me do
but
that.
But they also not venturing into media. Like, that's the only way I'm giving her a pass at getting at Joe because she did it on her media platform, though. To me, for the game to
she did it on his too.
That too.
No, they kissed and made up, and she came on his show. His show was after her show, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying that when the album dropped, I agree with that. Your perspective works in that sense because you're pushing an album, right? So you see, I don't think people. I try my best to step into people's shoes, right? I don't think people see what how it feels when people been sucking you for 10 years and then they get shit on you for no reason, only because there's a new it girl. So now we're going to shit on her when actually the album was actually better than the previous album. Like this was like the first album in a long time, production wise and rap wise. First of all, real talk, Queen was her first hip hop album. The album that got her all the millions and stuff, her debut album was not really predominantly hip hop.
Yeah,
that was a pop album.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She did her. She was creative. She was on her. Same thing with Lauryn Hill. Her first album. This is why she doesn't get the respect a lot of times.
Talk about Lauryn,
that's my. You know. I go hard. No. I go hard. I'm saying. I'm telling you. The naysayers that are out there who talk shit about Lauryn, right? And a lot of the youngins too.
Yeah.
They always come with this dumb shit like, oh, but that's not even a hip hop album. She wasn't even. What are you talking about? But that's because on her first album, it wasn't really. It was hip hop soul. It was more R&B. It was, and she only rapped twice. That's the other reason why. I'm just saying that they both were creative on their first albums, but they were not hip hop. So for Nicki to put out a real hip hop album where she's rapping, where the production is hip hop, and the game be like, yo, fuck that album. We don't want that. Yeah. This is what also not only rappers go through, but what women go through. Because the same thing happened to Kim. After Kim came out of jail, Kim put out a fire mixtape, yo. She smoked
before Bella Mafia. Before that, around that time.
No, Bella Mafia is before or after jail. That's before jail, right? No, I'm saying.
Came out, right?
No, after she came out of jail, she put out a mixtape. She was on every hot beat. She smoked everything. They acted like it did not exist. She got no love at all. It was not. If you look up that body of work when she came out of jail, because I can see it's one thing if you come out and you fall off. It's one thing if Queen was actually whack and she wasn't really rapping. I'm saying both of them. I'm just saying these are the things that not only rappers go through. Because Hov went through it too. There was a time where people were like, that album was whack. How is it whack? Like, it's not whack, yo. You don't like it.
Which one? Music is a very small percentage of
which one? Black Album. I like Black Album.
Oh no, that was awesome.
Sounds like it's more about how people are feeling about you at the time.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
I love Kendrick and all that, but like, damn, it's not the super fire album like people was trying to make it.
No, I agree.
It's just that climate around him at that time. He could have
hot,
came out with an album, Bodily Functions. He could have been just burping on the shit. Niggas are like, son, this the best shit. I'm like, nah, son, it's really.
But you know
not.
what? That's the beauty. What I tell artists, that's the beauty in building a brand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. If you do happen to throw out something that's not so hot, at least the people's fucking with it because of your brand. Your brand is up.
That's like him. He'd be like, "Nigga, you B.Ankha." Like what? You can do anything. Like
that's what's up.
It's good.
Like, had that mindset. Drop an album and niggas would be like, it's fire. If Hov drop an album with them same lyrics, niggas would be like, son, Hov is the worst lyrics. This shit is the worst ever. But it's about what people are expecting from you.
Sidebar: have y'all seen this quote unquote leaked verse of Hov addressing? Have y'all seen that?
No.
It's not him though. It's so whack. I was just so mad that people.
Wait, what is it supposed to be?
Yes, I'm like, this is not Hov, and everyone's saying it's fire, and I was disappointed that I didn't know Mike Son posted it because I'm like, Mike, you posted it?
No, but Rain, what were they saying that it was supposed to address?
The whole NFL thing.
Oh, got it.
I didn't hear the leaked thing though.
Or it might have been my homeboy.
Well, it's a written verse.
What's his name? Chance. The homie that would be on IG. He rhymed like Hov though. Yeah, facts.
Maybe it was him.
It's probably him.
He
sound like Hov and rhyme like him too.
He got a couple
it's a written verse.
Yeah, that's
and
what
it's
I'm saying.
Basically, but I'm like, when you read it, you're like, this is not Hov, B. I mean, it was like, I guess at some point we're gonna have to talk about that today.
Yeah, definitely. Y'all want to get right into it? You guys want to
get into it?
Nicki?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I know there's a lot.
We love you, Nicki. We want to leave it on that note. We don't want no smoke. We love you.
Right.
Shit, Nicki the queen. Don't fuck.
Well, she got to realize now there's other queens.
It ain't.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Yes, there
It
is.
is.
You're on the
you right though.
but you're still not where I'm at. Like Cardi B, you're hot right now, but 10 years ago.
But she showed love. She showed love to Megan.
Did y'all see that move that she made this week with the Bernie Sanders interview though?
Who
got the Bernie Sanders interview?
Cardi
Nicki
B.
Minaj. Cardi B has a
Cardi.
Bernie Sanders
Check
interview.
that. Wow.
Y'all sleeping.
I'm just saying,
Her
like,
PR team is smart as shit.
that's why. And I feel like now, even with the little jab that she made at Cardi on the Joe
Ain't
Budden
nobody saying
podcast,
nothing.
What did she say?
she was just like, I didn't suck any DJ's dick or get on any reality show.
I heard that
Or,
too.
I'm
yeah.
like, all of that. That's
All
what
of
I'm
that was
saying.
not needed.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, you're not even the only.
That was not
for
needed.
you, like, you can't. That's why I feel like she comes off threatened in a way where, like, okay,
But she has no reason to be
That's
threatening
my whole
Cardi
point. I think
because
that's what we're
Cardi-
saying.
I
But
love
she makes
Cardi.
it look like she
It
is.
makes it
That's
look
what
like
it
it.
is. Yeah.
You scared.
Like, you
She's
know,
showing
you just
off. She's
collab
showing her
with
hands.
Meg the Stallion, right?
Right.
And she did some with City Girls too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know.
No,
Did she? Nah,
just
I
with
doubt
Megan.
that.
With Megan.
Period.
Yeah, it was just Megan.
Because I
Yeah,
don't
this
think they
Megan.
rock with her like that.
But that was just crazy when she said it, because it's like, yo, Cardi's living her best life right now.
Speaking of, before we completely deviate
Cardi
from
was in
Nicki,
Southside yesterday.
Southside?
Yeah.
Is that a
Where
good
that
thing?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that was her.
Jamaica Queens.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
Oh,
Oh, I
I
don't
don't know
know
what y'all be
something.
talking about. I was like, Chicago? Good times, never mind.
Rastafari.
Before we completely deviate from Nicki
Yeah, do your
Minaj,
thing.
did y'all watch the Meek Mill,
Yes.
the Free Meek
Yes.
documentary?
oh, I have
Amazon.
not seen it
Thoughts
yet.
on it?
Yeah, I mean,
Sidebar, before we get
I
talking
heard
to
it's
that,
mad good.
Snowfall is a great fucking show.
I mean,
I'm
you mad
hearing
late,
that.
though.
I know. You ain't gotta
I
put
mean,
it
just
right
saying.
there. Anyway.
I'm not caught up on this season, but
Yeah, I
it
saw
is
the
a pretty
Free Meek
solid
thing.
show, even though it's hard to watch.
I don't know. I just think Nikki, I have my opinions, but I just think like she is a dope artist. I feel like, and she doesn't stay confined within just hip hop. She's shown that throughout the years, but I just think her antics now is not doing any justice for her brand. Essentially, like you have the likes of Cardi, who's doing interviews with Bernie Sanders and stuff, and you got like, you know, other artists who are doing Rhapsody. Shout out to Rhapsody. Her album comes out, I think, next week. Eve, dope. But yeah, I don't know. I just think that should be.
Nikki, you too.
Okay, we off Nikki.
Yeah.
Just saying. Hashtag just saying. All right, so with the JayZ shit, right? So I'm just gonna play this clip. This is by Eric Reed. This is when he was being asked about the whole JayZ NFL thing.
Stephen A. Smith went on First Take and was saying that the whole point of you guys doing this was to bring light to, you know, racial oppression and whatnot. It wasn't about getting Colin. Well, he sacrificed his job, but it wasn't about getting Colin Kaepernick back in the NFL. It was about bringing light to this point, and that's what you guys have done. So he's saying, what is the problem with him going a different route because he's choosing not to go the route necessarily that you and Colin maybe have taken?
The order of events that happened, right? We were professional athletes first. Then we started protesting systemic oppression. Then Colin lost his job because of protesting for justice. Us fighting for Colin to get a job is returning him to the status quo of being an employee. We didn't advocate for him to lose his job along the way. I think it's ludicrous that somebody who is like Stephen A., who's been so closely reporting on this, would make a statement like that. It's asinine.
So this is also in relation to what Stephen A. stated as far as like the deal being a good thing for Colin Kaepernick and the NFL. So
I didn't hear that Stephen A. Thing. How would this be good for Colin Kaepernick?
I was just curious to know your thoughts on it. I feel like
You were
it
gonna
won't
play
be.
it?
I couldn't really.
So what
really
did
find
Stephen
it.
A. say though?
So essentially, what he just said was that this move, this I guess
JayZ
this
move.
merger move would be good for the NFL and also a step forward in the whole Colin Kaepernick situation.
No
Him getting-
But
disrespect,
how if he already
Stephen A.
settled?
Be cooning
Hey,
a little bit.
I don't.
Stephen A. be cooning a little bit. I'm not gonna front. I think he's totally front. I like him, but no disrespect, but he does sometimes.
I
Well,
mean,
aside from
it could
the-
possibly.
Yeah.
All right, I just want to say this: that I've been debating like both sides
I'll look
of the
for it.
coin, and people think that I'm anti, but I'm really not. I'm just indifferent. I feel like we cannot have these knee-jerk reactions every time something is done like this. So Hove makes a deal with the NFL. Only thing that I've been doing is presenting the facts of both sides, right? So if you look at Hove, where it's not fair for people who are the Hove haters and the memes that have him like as a coon and a backstabber and all these memes, it's not fair to him because at least in 2019, he's been very proactive with regards to social justice and fighting for rights of black people, of young black men. Like he was, you know, a major part in helping Meek. He's done a lot of things where it's like the same people who criticize Hove will champion Obama, but it's the same thing. Like a lot of black people feel like, what has Obama done? But
like with the Meek thing, you think that's out of the goodness of JayZ's heart, or do you think that's a business investment?
I don't think I think it's irrelevant
like,
as
artists cannot gain on a larger platform.
But I think it's irrelevant if like, it's out of the goodness of his heart. The bottom line is that
I know I love Hove, but I was just like somebody brought that to me, and I was like, I don't know if that's too much out of the goodness of your heart. Like that's allowing your assets to make more.
But this is what I'm saying, that the goodness of his heart, it doesn't really matter. It's like the goodness of your heart. The goodness of your heart is irrelevant to fighting the cause. Yeah, it's like it's action. Period. This is where you have to give him a chance, even if it is for business. It's saying that I'm still doing something proactive because we have an issue. We have police brutality, right? We have football players who were taking a stand, and this happened. So now they do have a social injustice program of sorts with the NFL, which he will be spearheading. So it's like, just give him the opportunity to do something.
But that's okay. Also to say that like it can't. It's as to say that it can't be both, right? I think it's clear that most folks in this world, they're going to like make decisions in the best interest of themselves, right? Mm-hmm. Of course. But it's not to say that folks won't also be kind and also do kind things. And like, so like, is there a natural like hierarchy when it comes to how people function? Yes, but it doesn't have to be one or the other. So I think it doesn't. And I think there are many other companies, like there have been times when folks have wanted to cancel out Nike, right? But we adopted them again, or they were okay with us again when they did something different, or when they they did whatever the heck they did with Kaepernick after the Super Bowl, right? So like I think it's just happening a little differently, except like
a little disingenuous though, and that's
what you mean with that.
Because on the flip side, then if you look at the facts, right? So the people who are advocating for him, I think it's still a knee-jerk reaction to be a supporter. I don't think you can say. I think you have to wait and see, because. Yeah. For him to in January be like telling everybody fuck NFL, he did a song Ape Shit with Beyonce where he addresses the NFL and the whole situation. He's telling artists don't perform at the Super Bowl. He told Jermaine Dupri to not take the same deal that he took. All these things.
You guys, I don't know if that's disingenuous. I don't know if that's disingenuous. No. That's to say that people can't change their minds over time with negotiation.
But let me finish. Let me finish.
Thank you.
Disingenuous means that I don't have to consult you to make the change. However, respect is, if I'm riding your whole wave, your whole campaign, the least I can do is say, hey, Cap, this is what I'm doing. It's going to go public. He did not even know about the situation.
Got it. I was going to ask, disingenuous. Did folks know that was about to happen? Got it.
And he lied. Allegedly, he lied until the girlfriend tweeted that he did not tell Cap anything. So I'm saying that those kind of moves are a little bit it's all about self. Yeah. And I'm still, even with that said, I'm still like, let's wait and see.
I think everybody's pissed at Jay because of his comments during this whole ordeal saying we're past kneeling.
That added to it.
Yeah, and I just think.
But he's right though. I don't have a problem with that.
Exactly. I don't think that anything was wrong with that. We still kneeling?
Yeah, we still kneeling. You know why? You know why? Because kneeling.
No,
Eric Reed. I think that's part of.
I'm not saying that.
Eric Reed was wrong in that sense. Where this is what I'm trying to say. He has a right to be upset because he was left in the dark, and you rode the whole campaign. This is why I keep saying it's 48 Laws of Power, right? Why I feel like he rides that whole situation, because people get shot in the crossfire, right? Yeah. When you're aiming for the power. See, a lot of the people who are advocating for him, like, oh, this is a great move. You're making it about money. It's not really about money. It's about power. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you're following these laws coupled with everything else, like the art of war and all these things, right? it makes sense that I would tell the whole rap community, yeah, fuck the NFL. You know, like, because at the same time,
That's
I
not
heard
necessarily commendable. Like,
no, at all. I don't respect that at all. I think that's whack. That's what I'm trying to say. So I bring that to the people who are advocating. So you have no problem with this type of deception? You know what I'm saying? That's my only issue. I'm like, okay, that's why I'm saying on both sides of the coin, all we can really do as a people is wait and see. Yeah. What else can we really do? Like, give him a chance, and then if he drops the ball, then you. But real talk, it's no different than Jermaine Dupri took the job to book the events. The same thing that JayZ will be doing, like a part of his deal, right? He got backlash. Like, why are you doing that? You know, ATL. This was the highlight when Hov had publicly said, this is what we're not doing, right? But meanwhile, you told him not to. Meanwhile, you 8 months later, you went and did it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's the only thing that's disingenuous because it's like, okay,
it's kind of
does it matter? Right. Yeah. But does it matter?
You got to see. You're right, though. You got to see. You got to see how it play out.
Because morality, what I realized, does not matter in those realms. They don't care about that type of shit. I do. You know, some people do, but everyone doesn't. Because I see all these guys like, and I was disappointed with this response because some of the most conscious dudes that I know that are real, like, you know, real, like, even from my son to another dude in St. Louis named T-Dub-O, right? They had a similar sentiment saying that, oh, so what, we're supposed to be broke? And I'm like, JayZ is not broke. So, like, making that move, like, why y'all keep making it about money?
About money, yeah, instead of about. That's
just as asinine as going against it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not all these people making it about money. Is it about money? Because he just became a billionaire, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like people.
No, but it's about power more than money.
Yeah, it is.
To get more money, though, that's why you want power.
No, but I think it's about. Power kind of trumps the money, right? Because the money, you got the money. He has enough money for generations of his kids already. Absolutely. So it's like, okay, and I hate to count people's money. That's not what I do. I'm just saying that to me, it's more about power.
Right.
But if he has the power, hopefully it'll be in our favor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Think of money.
And so let me ask you guys a question, right? Because like, could this and I understand that everyone also like there's always some type of selfish angle with people doing shit, right? But we've also established that the man has probably everything that he needs. Could this also be about influence?
Absolutely.
That goes with power.
Yeah. No, but it sounds
with
different.
His age and all that.
It sounds completely different, right? Because influence, it depends on what it is that you're trying to influence.
But then it's twofold, right? Because then that's why the Hotep people, the conscious people are like, okay, the NFL basically bought the black influence.
That's what I think people were pissed off at.
That's why they're pissed.
That's why.
So it's twofold.
Like, damn, bro.
We're trying to have hope, right? And we're trying to say that it gives him influence where he could lead us and actually get the NFL to like contribute to organizations that, you know, make social justice a thing or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we want, because I didn't know that last year. So there was another guy involved, Jenkins, a football player.
He plays for the Eagles, Malcolm Jenkins.
Right. So he was a part of the Cap and Reed protest, but then he sold out and he got the NFL to cut $89 million towards organizations that were not for social justice. Right? So you see what I'm saying? So maybe Jay will get the NFL to cut $100 million for social justice. Yeah. I just think we have to wait and see.
I agree.
It can't just all be that he just wants money, and then it can't all just be that, because now it's floating around that he's about to be an owner.
Yeah, they say he's going to be a majority owner, which I'm not sure why they so humdrum on which team, but I'm curious to see what type of influence he'll have on the team.
But then he would have to give up Roc Nation, correct?
No. So here's the thing: he can still be an owner. He's not an agent. So it's just Roc Nation. He's a representation of it. So he'll still be an owner.
But I heard that I thought that he gave up. It's a conflict.
No,
he gave up his Nets ownership because of Roc Nation Sports.
No, I don't. From my understanding, from what I've read, it won't be an issue. But who's to say? I don't know.
Maybe that's a part of his deal. I don't know.
So, but even still.
Yeah, but I don't think he would do that. You guys think he would do that?
I can see it. Become a majority owner. I think so.
So people are thinking he's gonna do it to give Cap a job. I'm like, Cap is over a job.
So I don't think it's not.
Yeah,
I don't think
it's bigger than that.
Yeah,
like
it's bigger than
Cap
that.
is irrelevant at this point. I think he needs to iron that out though, because to me, what he said in that meeting, I would feel away. I think it's so passive aggressive and such a cop out. I hate when people say, "Oh, well, I'm not his boss." So what do you mean not his boss? Like this is your deal, and you could have given him a heads up. You could have made it like, yo, I'm not doing this deal without Cap.
I think that would have been huge if he would have had Cap there. I think everybody
yes,
would have had different. It would have been more impactful. When I saw that,
do that make Cap is here.
But here's my whole thing.
Because then it would have felt as though he was a part of the planning.
Yeah, that's not his point. So he was never gonna do something like that. I don't think.
I just think for that magnitude, where we are, where he is in his career, on trying to get back in the NFL, and also with JayZ, which I just think,
is he still trying? He's settled. How's he trying?
Nah, he's still trying. He still posts like it's been 3 years since he's been in the league. Like,
but he just got like a $10 million check to settle.
But
so
he's a football. He wants to. He's a football player. For
lost earnings that he hasn't
been able to
over the last 3 years.
So he still wants to play.
Yeah, he still wants to play. I mean, it's something that he's dedicated majority of his life to.
This is sad, yo. I don't know what to say. Like, this shit is like fucked up to me. Like
the whole shit.
The fact that they even shitted on him like that because of protesting. Like, are you serious?
That's what the whole beef was. So like
Yeah,
saying
that
that he
was-
got that money from before, that don't mean nothing about. He could have played 5, 6, 7 years. Dak Prescott, the quarterback on my team, is what, maybe top 15, if that. He just turned down $30 million per season. He's like, nah, that's not enough for me. Colin Kaepernick is that level, if not better. So like Colin Kaepernick could make $35 million next season.
And this is what I'm trying to say.
And
So
he's
there's
not getting that money,
ignorant
so
dudes.
fuck that.
There was an ignorant,
Hell
like,
yeah.
so Gully TVs, I seen a post. He posted that Kaepernick, I want to read it. It was so ignorant. Basically saying that he wasn't good.
See, and that's the thing. Had Colin Kaepernick maybe declined a bit, agreed. He was on a shit team, one, and don't act like he wasn't 2 years removed from going to the Super Bowl, from taking that shit team to the Super Bowl. That was kind of irrelevant before he had gotten there. Alex Smith did all right, but before that whole Colin Kaepernick shit, the 49ers was irrelevant for 15
And you got to
years.
think they had a formidable team when he took them to there. He was a major catalyst. He was what Pat Mahomes. He was doing what Pat Mahomes was doing, kind of sorta when he was doing, not at the magnitude. You know what I'm saying? Not at the magnitude, but he went in Foxborough.
He's a running quarterback. That's you talking about the
But
best
feel what I'm
probably
saying?
ever.
Come on, I need you to think about it. I'm just saying, like, when his impact when he came in the league before Pat Mahomes, he was pretty much playing at that level. Pat Mahomes exceeded that,
He
but
revolutionized
before
the position.
yeah,
Definitely.
you know what I'm saying? For him not to get a job,
That's what I'm saying. So people are just saying anything at this point.
Because they don't know.
Did he decline? Was he a guaranteed?
If
Yo, I
you're
gotta
not
go get
playing-
Colin Kaepernick to start for my team. Maybe not. But Colt McCoy is about to start for the Redskins week 1. And Colin Kaepernick is 10 times better than Colt McCoy. Like, to say that he don't have no job at all is that's not even that's ridiculous.
So I put up, do we cancel JayZ to that point?
No, I'm not. I mean, you might can cancel him though after you find out that it was all about the money.
Because at first, when I first hear
He
about
might get canceled.
everybody knows I love
he's
him.
not.
Bottom
You know
line.
what?
But-
I don't think. I'm sorry. My bad.
Nah.
I don't think I still would cancel him. Hear me
But
out.
you
It's
wouldn't
funny.
cancel Oprah either.
You're damn right. So it's funny. I was watching this brain
sense.
game thing on Netflix that it's brain games, and you know what I'm
Yeah,
talking
I
about.
watch it. Yeah.
And they did this season 5 episode 3. They did this test about morality where they test like whether or not, like, the type of choices that people would make. Yeah. And so the first go round is like there's a train track and you're the conductor. A train is coming down and you have 4 people on one track, one person on the other. What do you do because the train is going to kill somebody? Mm-hmm. And so folks are like choosing whether or not they let the train kill the 4 or the 1. Mm-hmm. And most folks said, utilitarian point of view, greater good, kill the 1 to save the 4. But then they switch the shit up, and then they say, "Oh, what if that one person is somebody that's your family member?" Yeah, and naturally everybody's like, "Well, I'm gonna save my mama, right?"
Before going.
So I say that to say, like, we all rationalize things, like, no matter how moral we think we are, and like, it feels even more shitty because he's a man with a lot of access and things of that nature, and he has the ability to like to be so much more influential than he is. So I recognize like why it is that he's receiving the flack. But the reality is most folks will make decisions to kind of advance their placement like where they are. So to cancel folks for it, like I feel like it's naturally okay to be disappointed, but I don't think
and that's been his career too.
Exactly.
It's true. Facts.
But I think what it does is remove like this element of like this is how people really are. Right? Like this is what the brain causes people to do. So like instead of canceling people, like how do we how do we function a little differently with that information, knowing that most people would make that choice? You know what I mean? Because like if 20 people in the room made that choice, we canceling all 20 of them? When most people would make that decision?
It's not simply just canceling them for making that decision. Mm-hmm. The canceling comes because of him, because of the relation to our struggle and to what it means. So he essentially is being canceled because he'll be deemed a sellout. Mm-hmm. So you basically took a bag where you actually rode a wave for the campaign, right? Mm-hmm. Because he became proactive and more conscious in his latter years. That's just the bottom line. Mm-hmm. Even musically, he started dropping more jewels just about conscious things as black people. So I'm not saying I would. I'm just saying that the canceling comes from, damn, dude. So you really you didn't really need that deal.
But
you know what I'm saying? So the canceling comes because you sold out your people for a bag.
But what if he was inspired by the influence over the money first?
Of course.
You see what I'm saying? Like, what if they're like?
No, but the canceling is regardless because it's what about us?
No,
It's your inherent duty, and you don't have to agree. But in my opinion, as someone who is conscious as well, I think it's your duty that as you level up in life, and I was taught this as a teen, right? You are supposed to give back.
Absolutely.
People try to give credit for giving back to these charities and bullshit. Like, cool. That's what rich people do, right? No, fuck that. Like, it's more about you actually connecting. Like, case in point, I seen Cardi B post up. She could easily donate to charities. I'm quite sure she does. But you know what? She's actually going to her old neighborhood and giving out stuff for her neighborhood. Like, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And this is why he gets slack, is because even though I heard that he has done things in Brooklyn, you really can't tell, right? And so,
been downtown lately. See that big ass stadium that he put in the middle.
You talking about the Barclays?
Yeah.
That's all
no,
JayZ.
son.
That's
no.
all JayZ.
That's not doing. That's from Brooklyn. No, whoa. Let me change. Hold up. Let me change what I mean by doing it for Brooklyn. I mean your people. There's nothing reflective of
like a cultural thing.
That's not at all. That is all money.
Yeah.
No, all right.
That's what I'm thinking about.
All right, people got jobs. All right. I'm not knocking that. I'm saying that there's nothing reflective of JayZ and Marcy projects. Okay, there's nothing reflective of him in the hood. Like people. Wait. Let me finish. People, I get it. People who are. Because I had this debate, right? And so the guys were like, people who are more inspired by people's actions. Yes, that's dope that Jay came from Marcy and made it to where he's at. And so that should inspire you. But I'm talking about direct connection. Like, everyone is not going to feel just so inspired by seeing this man be rich and do his thing. Where is the direct connection?
This is assuming that he feels as though that's significant. I feel like this man in his music has always said that, like, why are you sitting down there investing in somebody else's project when you can be doing other things? So I feel like he might show his investment in his community a little differently. So like I hear that, because naturally I would want to go back and I would want to create a rec center or do this thing, because that's my view of what it means to give back.
No, I heard that he actually gave out certain things in the hood that people don't take up. I don't know how true it is, but I heard that There's scholarships and different things like for people to go to college, but niggas don't want to go to school. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he hasn't done anything. Yeah. I'm just saying that
it's not evident.
It's not evident like that. Outside of the Barclays and people were loving the Nets and all that, like it was just like, yeah, that's great for Brooklyn. Okay, yeah, great. But I'm talking about the people who look like you, because what that did for Brooklyn, it did give people jobs, right? Yeah, however, what it did was it was more about capitalism. So what it did was help to better gentrify that neighborhood. Nice. It was better to kick out black business owners. There were a lot of small black business owners who were in that area. They're no longer there.
I think sometimes we take for granted though, and trust me, like I don't fuck with gentrification. I'm not a fan of it. The neighborhood that I lived in D.C. is completely different, and those things bother me. Even driving around Brooklyn with folks who might have grown up there all their lives and then hearing how they respond to something that looks economic, like looks diverse to me, to hear how like people who grew up, like who were raised there, blah, 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 feel about it, like it's disheartening. Yeah. However, something to keep in mind is that like plans for development are always going to happen, right? And there's an element in which makes me wonder, was there a plan for development that he became aware of and said, well, I'd rather be a part of it so that I can create more opportunity for people of color? Or was it like, oh, like, F these people, let's just create this thing, right? And I think those things matter, but these are the things that, like, us as the folks who are looking on, we don't always think about like all of those.
My only thing with gentrification, which I feel disheartened by, is the fact that the people who look like us that live in the neighborhood, we need these levels up without necessarily having to leave. You know what I'm saying? Like where I'm from, Soundview Park was like all weeds for my entire life. And then in the past 5 years, they fixed it up. And now they have a ferry that, you know, there's a ferry coming from the Bronx to Manhattan because now they're gentrifying the neighborhood. It's like, damn, you couldn't fix the fucking park just for us to play in the fucking park? You see what I'm saying? This is what makes it bad. It's great for the community, and it's only great if you can survive and stay in the community. It's not fair for people who don't look a certain way or don't have a certain income to have to leave where they're from when you finally decide to put dollars into the neighborhood.
I think it's a chicken and egg kind of thing though, because like we don't have the money to put back in the neighborhoods, and like I'm totally against gentrification, but something like Barclays that actually gives people money and careers and financial stability, then you can do different things. But like, if we don't have the money to fix up the park, who gonna fix up the park? We can't tell somebody, yo, give us the money to fix up the park.
No, the government is fixing up the park.
Right.
Yo,
I feel
the
like
government fix up
money.
Right, but
it ain't
but
just
they
fix up the park for white people. It's
no
fix up the
make
park so then we can make
let
money.
them come
We
in, but
gotta
don't
get
kick
our
the
own
people
money.
out. Don't kick the people who live there out.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
100%
agreed. But just the way that the world works. So ironically enough, and this is the thing that I studied in school. My master's thesis was on like sustainable community development and like what it takes to create sustainable communities and promoting economic diversity.
Oh, when I get a bag, I'm hollering at you. Facts.
And but the thing that's interesting is that like I 100% agree about not kicking people out. The thing is when there are not voices at the table that's advocating for those people,
exactly,
then there's no one who can speak about like how it is that they could still add money to the into the communities while still like maintaining voice, because naturally, like when it is that folks are coming into to communities to develop them, they're developing them in their visions, right? They don't take into consideration at all the vision of the people who are involved. Now let's buck it down a little bit. That would be more meaningful. It would be so meaningful if it is that the community had the opportunity to determine what it is that how tax dollars were spent. Right, because then that's another thing. Because the reason why they tell you like they can't fix up your park is because you don't have enough tax income coming in so that we can pay people to fix up the park. Yeah. How? I don't know that.
But see,
Let me see that
this
tax
neighborhood
income.
is not really that neighborhood. It's just I don't know. It's amazing to me because like Soundview Park runs long, right? So you know it runs from one end all the way to another end, and I feel like to say, I just think that no one ever advocated for the neighborhood because it was always, well, at least my side was always middle income. So it's not low income. So why, like, no one cared enough, I guess, to say, hey, this park needs to be fixed up, because to live in front of a park is always prime real estate. It's just about when are they gonna, like, you know, decide to add a doggy park. Now, once they add the doggy park, there goes the neighborhood.
But they added because the white folk are asking for the doggy park.
Because
and the thing is, with
they advocate.
Of course, but the thing is with our families is our families were busy trying to feed us and make sure that we had college like savings and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so and it's not
true.
it's not that they didn't particularly care. We just didn't have the capacity to be worried about the bush across the road because we're trying to figure out how to maintain the roof on this house.
No, it's true, but I'm just saying that it's just unfortunate. Like, we black people, or, you know, people, we want these same levels. Yeah, like, okay, you're gonna bring these new stores in the neighborhood. Great, that's great for the neighborhood. Why can't the people who are in the neighborhood enjoy it? Like, every time I'm hearing about business ownership too, there are like a lot of like small barbershops that were in Brooklyn for years, like certain places that never had a problem paying rent. And so all of a sudden, the landowner, the landlord decides that I'm gonna just kick y'all out and not even open it up or sell it. I'm just gonna hold it until I can sell it for higher. Why though? When you have a tenant that's paying rent, that has a legitimate business, you follow what I'm saying?
So it's like they can get more from somebody else.
Someone here in my lab actually said that maybe they're doing, these community-based organizations are volunteering to fix up the parks and stuff like that to attract the kind of people that they want to move into that community.
Of course.
And move us out.
Right.
So that definitely takes a toll in the hand.
It's just that's the bad part of gentrification.
So you think?
Otherwise, it's great for the neighborhood.
So you think JayZ? Because I don't want you.
Well, bringing it back to JayZ is what she said. All right, if JayZ has a seat at the table, then that's the whole thing. We want to know. We're not putting all of our eggs in this, you know, rapper turned businessman to like save the black community. That's not what we're doing, right? But at the same time, he's someone that looks like us, who can relate to our struggle, who has a seat at the table. So you would want to think that he is going to advocate for us.
But I think he's at a very pivotal point right now, because in the NFL, and Reef, you can attest to it. You know what I mean? You're an avid bootleg NFL game watcher. You don't watch it.
So illegally streaming, baby.
I just think with the NFL, it's majority African Americans running the sport. You understand? But also, you have a player who's mixed, who's not in the NFL right now because of his stance on social injustice. And I think African Americans are a bit perplexed with JayZ because he's at the NFL headquarters making a deal in representation of us, and doing that is kind of like
we feel. Though? We don't know.
But I'm just saying, most of us feel that way. I don't, but most of us feel that way, and rightfully so, in a sense, because it was trying times around that time when Colin Kaepernick was kneeling. Like, shit was bad, in a sense. So the fact that he's doing is putting himself in that platform and putting him in that space of responsibility, representing us, and he's doing that without actually, I think, having homeboy sit in the room. A lot of people are upset. Blacks are upset.
No disrespect to Cap, but I think, not to say it's bigger than Cap, but it's bigger than Cap. I think the whole beef was that we live in a country where we aren't given the right to be able to protest and still earn and keep our jobs. Tim Tebow was taking knees a couple years before Colin Kaepernick did. While they were singing the national anthem, Tim Tebow, but squeaky clean, Christian, white boy Tim Tebow, none of this shit happened. When, Afro fist up, Colin Kaepernick does it, now it's a problem. But Hov becoming an owner, does that not circumvent all of that? Because, like, if I'm an owner, I can say, yo, my players can kneel whenever the fuck they want. Whether
as a matter of fact, we ain't even playing the anthem.
So, and
we playing the Negro national anthem.
And that's what we're hoping for.
When I heard the first deal about Roc Nation just providing the music and the soundtrack, I was like, damn, bro, you sold us out. Right. I seen somebody put a tweet up about, like, it was like Martin and Rosa was boycotting the bus, and then Hov struck a deal for the bus to play Rock Nation on the bus while the bus is. It was like, damn, bro,
Right.
like you really sold us
seen
out.
that.
I was like, damn, like just because they gonna play Rock Nation during the commercials and shit, that's bullshit, bro. But then when I heard that he's about to become a majority owner, I was
But
like,
that's a
it's
rumor.
method to the
That's
madness.
rumor,
Yeah, I don't know
yeah.
if that's true. Then it's like
That
feel
trumps
you,
the
bro.
deal.
Yeah, it's like, yo, you coming in to really run shit to be able to say I'm an owner. I say what the fuck can happen, and anybody can kneel. They can raise their fist. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
That,
So if he's
no, I
doing
was just
that,
gonna
then I
say
fuck
that's
with
why
you.
we can't like always assume and just like
Yep.
bash a celebrity because also we're here and they're there. So maybe they have to do this a certain way where stuff in that route is gonna piss you off or disappoint you, but in the end, like overall, it's still gonna benefit all of us. So hopefully that's his intentions right now, and that rumor is gonna be something good and it's gonna benefit not only the NFL but.
Well, let me ask you, you're an artist, right? And McCray, you right? So let me ask you, if you were JayZ in his position and your career pretty much catapult, which you will, what would you have done? What would you do?
I mean, I'm not mad at the route that he's going. I'm not gonna lie. I think that he's gonna be cautious about how he does things, but he also, like I said, has to do it a certain way. So I feel like, yes, he should include Kaepernick, but to a certain extent, because you don't want to make it seem like you're just trying to, I don't want to use yes man, but just trying to like sugarcoat or cover up something. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, let me just put a Band-Aid on this real quick. He might, I wouldn't personally want to do that, but he might not use him at all, and then it'll just downfall. So you never really know. But me personally, I would use a taste of that. I'm not gonna lie, because it all falls into one category in my mind. Like I feel like it all falls into a category where it'll satisfy who needs to be satisfied and what's right.
I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think he should have been a bit more strategic, and I was a bit surprised at his move because I feel like in the NFL, you're representing us.
Well, if I can also say, right, I feel like we forget that Cap had a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Right? So there could also be something to whereas he might not be able to stand next to JayZ.
Okay,
so I think there's a myriad of
That's
things
true,
that
that's
one
true.
needs to consider. Don't get me wrong. This is not speaking up. I don't know enough about the circumstance.
I
And I
agree
don't
with
put
that,
it past him to not have like poor PR as it relates to it because regardless, even if Cap couldn't stand next to him, even if he had a way to like inform him, a quick tweet could have been like, I support my homeboy or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But there's so many things that like could factor into this that we haven't even allowed ourselves the opportunity to explore.
Yeah.
That people just love to be vexed.
I think that's the most likely outcome. Like the NFL's not gonna give Cap that check. There was probably a strict stipulation.
wasn't gonna
like,
give
you
him
will
that
not
check.
be involved
Yep.
with no more of this
because he
protest.
can't
no more of this
disclose
backlash against us.
the amounts.
We give you
There's
this
so many
check. Shut the
stipulations
fuck
in that
up.
shit.
Like I
Exactly.
think
Definitely.
But that's why he could have just gave him the heads up. If he couldn't be there anyway, why couldn't he just tell him this is what I'm doing? You don't gotta like it, but this is what I'm doing.
That shit is
You know
just
what I'm
whack. And me personally, I still didn't like the fact that he stated we're beyond kneeling. I don't think we are beyond kneeling.
We are beyond
I don't
kneeling.
think so.
I
We
think
spent a
that
little
was
time on why
NFL.
something was wrong
The
with that.
fact
It
that
wasn't.
you still have NFL players kneeling. Eric Reed is still kneeling.
There's
You
a
know what
bunch
I'm saying?
of
There's a
players
bunch of NFL players still
I
kneeling.
think
But I don't think he's saying that they shouldn't.
That line.
I don't-
Yeah, yo, you got
I don't
wasn't
think he's saying that they shouldn't.
no.
I think what he's saying is, okay, so oftentimes, because
What's
even last
next?
week, in the last 2 weeks, yes.
Right.
Even in the last 2 weeks, we had a conversation around, like, okay, and we want people to do something after, right? After the kneeling, like, we're kneeling for a reason. Now, what's the outcome? What is the shit that we're looking for?
Absolutely.
I feel like he was just saying, like, we're beyond this. Like, we're already doing this. Like, it has produced the uproar that we wanted it to produce. Now it's time to move on to action steps, or now it's time to move on to the next thing. I don't think he was trying to make it negative, but I think it's easy for us to hang on to one thing and make that like as poorly as we wanted to make a seat
He basically had to show like this
Yeah.
is the focus.
I mean,
even
I
though
didn't.
this is happening.
I'm still curious to know what the end game is.
Yeah.
So the Super Bowl is gonna be super black, I guess now.
It just might be.
If he becomes
It was already
owner,
black.
If he becomes an owner, then that's everything.
I'm starting to think
Like,
now.
you-
I'm starting to think. I don't think it's the ownership. I don't think he's going to become a majority owner because we have yet to have
majority.
Yeah.
That I'm not signing on with that. Him being a majority
Yeah.
owner, I don't think we've America's that progressive in 2019. That shit's not gonna happen.
I mean, for the NFL, not for.
There's no majority. There's no African American majority owners in the NFL.
There's none.
And it's not about the money.
Yeah.
It's not about like people have the money.
I agree.
But the rest of the owners have to agree to be able to say you can be an owner. And I don't think
that.
That's not happening. They're not gonna do that.
This is assuming. Look, if I was JayZ, I'm not talking to like I'm speaking to all of the left wing people. I'm rallying them up. I'm talking to them about buying their shares or whatever the case is. Like I'm asking them to keep that shit on the hush. Like we never know.
Nah,
right?
They're not gonna be quick to give that shit up. They're gonna keep that power.
There are no left wing people holding ownership shares in the NFL.
You know why?
Old white billionaires. This is oil money.
And they got no idea what he's gonna do with it. So they like, oh hell no.
Hell no.
So you bring him in, then you gotta bring more of them motherfuckers
in.
They're not doing that.
They're gonna take over. That's
they're not gonna relinquish that
It's still
power.
America. They wouldn't let Jordan buy the Bulls.
Right.
That in itself says
I didn't know
enough.
that he tried.
He tried.
He's only with
so
the Hornets
interesting.
because they was like, nah, you ain't getting the Bulls. The motherfucker who is the Bulls. Ain't no Bulls without Michael Jordan. Y'all gonna tell him he
They
can't
get
buy
you the
shit?
bread, the deal. You can't own shit.
You can't own shit.
Facts.
That's wealth. We'll
That's
give
trifling.
you money. You can get rich,
Look,
but we're not trying to give you
people
wealth.
are
That's
fearful
build
of
your
black
own
minds
wealth.
having power,
Give me
boy.
that.
People are so fearful of black minds having power. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So that's what I mean.
That's the shit that just makes it more exciting.
Hov not gonna be majority owner, but
I
if he
think
can
what
be
it
a
is
10%
guilt.
owner.
I think it's guilt.
What you mean?
Deep down, for being oppressed, I think it's guilt. Because in my heart, I believe we good peoples, fam. Like you feel what I'm saying? Like it when it's natural, but I think it's the guilt, like white supremacist guilt. You feel what I'm saying?
White
so it's
fragility
like,
is what they call
white
that
fragility,
nowadays.
right, white fragility. Where it's that fear,
I got
where it's
time
like,
for that
oh shit,
shit.
they're gonna come back, they're gonna enslave us
Be
even
ready.
crazy. You feel what I'm
Be
saying?
ready. Well, no, because we're not
not
as
that
evil.
kind.
We're
That's
not
what
that
I'm
type
saying.
of
We
people.
not that
We're not
kind.
exactly.
That's- we
I'm not
really
about to enslave you, but I'm gonna make sure your ass is aware.
Yeah, we gonna know. We gonna
Oh,
know.
you gonna know. It's about to be a requirement for your ass to sing the Negro National Anthem. Stop
Right.
playing.
Right.
There's a new
Book club. They're gonna be like,
Surprise, motherfucker.
but I don't know. I'm just curious to know the end game, man. The NFL. Well, are you?
I feel
Well,
like he's
you.
trying to create lanes for people, man. I feel like people don't give that man enough credit. And I'm not a
I give him
huge
credit.
JayZ fan like that. I'm not even going front. I'm
I've
not
been
a big
on record
JayZ fan,
giving him credit.
But I feel like that man. I feel like the man is more like conscious and aware than people give him credit for. Maybe I'm like misinformed, but you're already wealthy. He has children. I feel like he's a different man.
Yeah.
I feel like
he's
even with the
cool.
different projects that he has his hands involved in, I feel like there's some thoughtfulness to it. Of course, there's money behind it.
Even
You're
on the
damn right.
entry, even on his entry as a rap, I didn't like JayZ at first. I ain't gonna hold you. He had a suit on his first video. I'm
Reef,
like, what
relax.
are you doing, fam?
Relax.
You feel me?
Relax.
For me, hip hop was dirty. Back then, you had to be dirty. So I'm like, you got a suit on. How dare you? But even in Reasonable Doubt, like even in the bars, it was like hustler, but still that introspective.
Yeah.
You feel me? He always had that. You feel me? It just grew.
That's
Shit.
like you said when
He
you
doing
said
so we
over
promote
time
it.
people change like their mindset on things. So it's like he's gonna do it differently now.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I just
You got no
We'll
hope.
see.
No hope.
It's not that I don't have hope. It's just that
He a hater.
So I don't receive that. I am not a hater. I'm not a hater on. How am I
He
hating
ain't
on
hating on
hope?
Hope. He hating on the wife. He be hating on the wife
Beyonce?
often.
Oh shit! How we gonna service back to that? Why you
No,
bringing
you
up
be
old
hating
shit?
on
Because
B,
you know,
yo.
because-
Really?
I'm gonna start
Oh,
calling
he's
you.
It's by
Oh,
association.
You see how he took the
It's
shot
a
at
whole
I'm gonna start calling you
At Mary,
TBT.
right?
at Mary earlier. He be hating on
On B, that's messed up.
I don't hate on Mary. I hate on the moves. The moves was crazy. She looked like she just took a
You sound like you got issues with women who are successful.
Ooh.
On the next episode.
Reef. You see this shit? You feel me? This is what I say.
You cannot give me any advice.
Is it because I'm female?
Excuse
Did I
me?
give you any advice?
That's not true. That's not true. I big up
It's not
women.
like
I'm a
that.
huge advocate for our
Brady,
women.
stop supporting his ass.
Because it's true. Like you just digging for some shit. Like it's not happening. It's not
No,
there.
you know, I feel like it could be better. Oh, so switch.
What do you mean
of,
that can be better?
I want to switch over, right? Because this now
at
leads
you.
to the concern that I have about the Free Meek thing. And so I think I thought it was a very powerful documentary, right? What I hate is that the focus was like the disdain for this black woman judge who is just a
She was terrible.
factor. She was, right?
Absolutely.
Wait, what's her name?
Judge Brinkley.
Judge Brinkley.
However, for the documentary to focus on her and not the system that might have created this, like, that might have allowed her to feel as though her power was like limitless. That's the problem, because that's us again, like attacking a small fry, like in the big realm of like patriarchy.
No,
in my opinion, she ain't
personal.
shit.
Yeah.
She ain't shit. I agree, she did.
Okay.
But by episode 2, we should have deaded that and moved on.
Oh, I didn't see it.
I did, but you thought they should have just left it. But
I felt like they should have evolved the conversation beyond this being very specific to Meek, because all 5 episodes was just about his story, which was fair, right?
Yeah,
because
nobody knew that.
Yeah. However, and which is fair, which is also public information. However, what they're doing is they're sitting down there and they're questioning like our criminal justice system, not just specific to him. That was an opportunity to highlight like the thousands and thousands, the millions of other men who are in circumstances very similar to him. So after episode 2, like, let's move on and stop focusing on this black woman judge and focus on the bullshit system that has allowed like this to be okay.
I disagree, because I think it's free Meek, and his situation is kind of rather it's still. It echoes now. So I think the fact that he was on probation for 11 years and the fact that at a point in time when he was at the height of his career, he couldn't leave his fucking house, that says a lot to the fucked up justice system.
Of course. I 100% agree. He's just not the only person who's going through that type of stuff.
But with that, the reason why I think they concentrated solely on that, because it was Meek Mill, and the fact that it resonated with what other people are going through. Of course, it's not going to band-aid what people are, going through every day.
But the judge, I guess, like, for me, judges are not always the faces of black women. Right? And it's not that I don't think that her ass needed to be called out, because I think there's also something to like making her feel ashamed about it. But the fact that like
I was disappointed to find out that she was a black woman.
Of course, me too. Like, don't get me wrong,
crazy.
I'm disappointed as well. I just understand that me having platform and voice, I have to be mindful about the messages that I'm putting out there and how it is that I shape that message. And for me, I would have preferred if the production had been a little bit more mindful about the message that they were putting out there and the focus of that of the documentary. Yes, call her ass out, but please make sure that you also show that, like, it's so funny. I don't know if y'all watched David Makes Man.
I want to see that. I haven't checked it out yet.
It's a new show by Michael B. Jordan and Oprah.
Shout out to Oprah.
I'm definitely not watching that.
Come on,
You get a car.
No, but I just watched episode 1 and it was done very very well. But even on the episode, like, there was a scene where the little boy, he like fights another little boy who looks like him in class. Yeah. And like in his mind, he's playing out like the reasons why he fights him, and then he goes like, oh, but when you look on the brochure at the high school that he's trying to go to, there's only one black face on there. So I say that to say, like, I think it's important to keep in mind how this system has allowed us to be trifling to one another, even as, like, we get power when we're not as aware. So to focus solely on that, like, let's rise above that conversation and call her ass out, but then also recognize that, like, hey, she ain't shit, but she ain't shit because
she feels
it's
like a tit for tat.
So you think the overall make of the black woman was detrimental to the image that everyone sees, as far as that?
Yeah, I feel like
because she was black.
Yeah, to me, because for me as a black female, so for me it's like, I feel like it's very easy for folks to be like, damn, why they doing that to R. Kelly, right? But when it comes to like a woman, like when it comes to Nicki Minaj, people are not like, damn, why they doing that to Nicki Minaj? It's not as like, people don't give black women the same type of empathy when it comes to this type of stuff.
But I think she fucked that shit up.
And I feel like I agree, McCray.
What you're not hearing me
say. What you're not hearing me say in the very same, but hear me out, right? Because I also agreed with what Erykah Badu said when she said, look, I don't support R. Kelly, but I think we also need to ask what the fuck he went through that made him this type of person.
No.
And that's fair. You can hold that stance. I feel very different because I feel like there are black boys out there who are getting molested.
I analyzed all that, and I feel like no, not R. Kelly. You had a chance, and you had a chance to make right, get help, and all that.
That's kind of hard to make that.
You're a sicko.
But look how you deviated from.
Old.
But look how we deviated from one thing to the other.
You're still doing the same shit at 50 years old. No, it's beyond that point.
Look at how we're deviating from one thing to the other. I didn't excuse him, right? What I said is what happened to him that caused him to be that person. That's all I'm asking. What happened to Judge Brinkley that caused her to think that it was okay to abuse her power? So for me, I'm not saying to make the documentary documentary excuse her behavior. I'm saying like highlight something bigger that shows that there's an issue that there's something that's going on that makes people feel as though it's okay to abuse this. Where's it? Even if we examine the systems of accountability, who the fuck was questioning her and the choices that she was making? There was nobody holding her accountable.
Because all right. So I see what you're thinking about how when they delved into her background, where she was like suing all these people and things like that.
Like none of that shit was none of that shit mattered.
To your point, it kind of does if you think about
context.
it.
I think
it kind of does because it does. It goes. You're right. It goes into her character and maybe they need a new person on this case, not that judge. And I think that's what they were trying to wrap around.
You know what? And so point taken. I feel like you just shared something that I might not have been mindful of, because I have to realize that that this man's case was just thrown out literally last month. Mm-hmm. And they probably was using this documentary as a build up to present his case, when I'm looking for it to be something more informative.
And I dig it, but
13. Ava DuVernay did 13, and everybody was like, damn, right?
Excellent.
I think I was looking for this to kind of showcase damn, and this is how many men in prison who are in the system right now who have been thrown back in because they violated probation from some bullshit petty shit that they did when they were under the age of 21. Show me some real shit like that. Right?
Just to piggyback. So Ava DuVernay was given a job that she accepted from Gucci to be a liaison.
Good.
Did you know that? Mm-mm. Which is no different.
Speak more on that.
I don't have any details, but this was months ago, and I feel like no one had a problem with that.
What?
But a liaison for what?
For better race relations.
You know, I thought you was talking about Gucci, man.
That's what the Dapper Dan
yes.
deal?
Really?
Something similar. That whole thing that Gucci was doing.
See, he made good points on his interview. Can't change it from the outside, inside. So I get that.
But that's why the same thing with JayZ.
Yeah,
so
I get
understand why the conscious people are not giving him a chance when he's been so proactive in the past however many years. He deserves a chance to show that maybe he will do something.
Mm-hmm. It's just the Colin Kaepernick is so delicate.
But the same people did not have a problem with Ava DuVernay accepting the job.
But it's because of her stance, right?
Because she does stuff more proactive, more blatantly proactive.
Because she's a voice behind Me Too. She was one of the organizers behind Me Too. So I feel like she probably has held credibility in that stance, maybe that other people and don't get me wrong, I don't think people recognize how much flack JayZ carries still from cheating on Beyonce. I think we underestimate how much the world has.
Dudes are bringing that up, and I'm like,
why? What does that have to do?
That's credibility, yo. When you cheat,
me out.
Go ahead.
It's bullshit. What? It is bullshit. But I feel like people underestimate, and it's not because it's legitimate. Hear me out. Women, one of the podcasts that I love to listen to is The Read. Mm-hmm. And they do they don't fuck with JayZ, but it's because he cheated on Beyonce.
But
so I sit down there and I recognize how many. Yeah, actually. Okay.
Because I'm like,
it's the girl and the guy. Both of them are.
If it's a guy, I'm like, he must be gay.
Do identify with
the weed.
Okay, so yes, they're it's funny that you asked that.
I only said that because I've been having this debate about the people who support women entertainers, and a lot of heterosexual males are so upset by this. Mm-hmm. But newsflash, the armies that support women are composed of women and gay men. The demographic of men who actually fuck with female entertainers, not just rappers, but entertainment, in my own stats, I say it's about 15%. And when I say support, I mean buy tickets to shows, download the music. Yes, there are heterosexual males that love female entertainers, but it's twofold, right? So bringing up and interviewing Lord Jamar, right? With him saying he doesn't fuck with female rappers, that's the other side of the heterosexual male. So you have a male like you that fuck with women, right? Entertainers, but the other side of you is I don't want to hear that shit.
Then that's deep though, because his co-host is
everyone says that. He sounds so retarded.
That's crazy.
But he distinctly said, I don't want to hear about women getting ready for the party. I don't want to hear what women go through.
So then listen to Rhapsody, jackass.
So then I said, what about the girls who are dropping jewels? I get it, but I don't want to hear that from a woman. It's just misogyny. That's what I'm trying to say. But that's how certain men feel.
I feel the other part.
That's somebody like Lord Jamal being threatened. Like no disrespect.
But I'm just saying
to
it's
him,
the other side of the guys that support. So guys like you could support, but that's why the percentage is so low because it's twofold. The other side is like I fuck with rap, I fuck with R&B, but I don't fuck with women who do it. You know what I mean? I'm only saying that to say that why I asked if they were gay, because the supporters of women, the B Army. I try to tell my homeboys, I'm like, the B Army. Who do you think is in B's Army?
Is that
you talking about Beehive?
Is that Barbie?
No, Beehive. The Beehive. My bad.
See how far
the Beehive.
I am?
And the Beehive. Who do you think is in the Beehive?
Not my ass.
Exactly, not your ass.
But I don't know if Beyonce's music is necessarily geared.
No, it's not geared. I'm saying the support.
They just be.
There's something that's popping.
But it's kind of hard for dudes to be so blind, like in the Beehive, because like your product isn't kind of geared towards me. So
no, but
blindly,
all right, I'm glad you said that. So the heterosexual dudes
Reef
that do support are the ones who are buying tickets for their girl, or the ones who want to bag chicks at the concert, or the ones who genuinely like the music. Like, but I'm gonna take my girl to the show. You feel me? So it's that. But as far as they'll be in the army by default. But the real army consists of gay men and women. But I don't know why this is so hard to fathom. Because,
it definitely is.
But is it okay for men to have that thought process and still be, for women?
Of course, because you have you. I'm just saying that the guys like y'all, it's only, in my opinion, like 15%. That actually fuck with it.
I think you gotta be super comfortable with yourself.
I'm just speaking to
that's not like really comfortable enough with themselves.
Right, and you got the dudes that's super duper macho. That's like, I don't want to hear that shit.
It's like, I get it.
Yeah, but no, because you'll catch men singing dangerously in love and
You're
shit
right.
like that. So
by themselves.
You're right. But I'm saying that percentage is not as high.
I've sung Keisha Cole off key.
Because you know what happened? When you look at all of them, like even a Lil' Kim, like when I first got into like battle rap, and I started to analyze, like, I'm like, oh, the people that's in the Lil' Kim army, it's like a lot of gay guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the guys who are going the hardest. And it's girls, of course.
I mean, it's hard
and rightfully so,
but it made me see it.
Like, Kim, like, you're graphically talking about sucking dicks in bars. Like,
but like, dudes fucked with it. Dudes like to, you feel me?
Like, I'm not.
No, right. Exactly.
Kim, you're great.
No, you like it to a degree. Like, you like how she looks. You like the bars. You fuck with it. But the dudes that's going hard, like,
I mean, you can't sing that shit. You can't be in the street singing. I used to be scared. Like, you can't be in the street singing. You can't sing that shit. Like, you look mad. Like, yo, nigga, what?
It depends on what song it is.
But it makes sense.
Because females happily sing like male lyrics and sit down there.
See, again, the line is different. It's okay for y'all to be in the crib watching a movie in y'all underwear, and that's cool. If y'all
it's okay for men to do that too,
no,
though.
No, fuck, it's not. If y'all called us up and y'all was like, yo, what's up, you doing?
Oh, movie in my underwear. What's wrong with that?
Joe's watching the movie. I'd be like, the fuck is it?
Really? I don't think so.
You probably thinking like, why are you telling us that?
That's your machoism. I feel like no, because
I'm not chilling with this nigga in my drawers watching movies. No,
chilling with another guy.
That changed the dynamic. I'm like, what's wrong with that?
Girls ain't chilling with each other in their drawers watching no damn whatchamacallit. Girls ain't doing that.
Facts.
Yes, it is.
I don't know why men have those images of females too. Like we be sitting down there eating bonbons together in underwear and bras.
I know girlfriends
like,
that might sleep in the same bed.
Y'all do a lot.
Oh yeah, but that's different.
Like that.
But
if y'all hear that I'm staying over his crib and we step in the same bed,
no, but it's different.
Maybe head to toe.
Head to toe, exactly.
He right though. A male best friend, you ain't doing that with your male best friend.
You gotta get over that shit.
It's a different level for y'all.
No, I get it.
Ladies, y'all gotta feel it. Y'all gotta understand.
No, y'all dragging it though.
Girls
might like if you're really comfortable around one another, you might change in front of each other, but we're not sitting on the couch with our panties together watching TV.
Exactly. Actually, that's mad uncomfortable.
Like actually,
what are we doing?
Like, bitch, you put a towel on
something.
We're not touching each other's butts.
I have female friends that touch each other's butts all the time. They're going, "Oh, girl, you look good. Look your butt." If we go out and I'm like, "Oh, yo, so you look good," you're like, "What the fuck is wrong
I mean, but y'all do that on the field, though. Y'all do that on the field, in the locker room.
In sports.
In sports.
Sports wise.
Yeah.
Oh wow! See, why do we need this? Why do we need this stamp of like a masculine
context?
Like
Definitely.
feel like
Context.
sports
Y'all
to
can
make
do
that
it in
okay.
sports too, though. I'm talking
That's
about
true.
going out to the club. If y'all see each other, you're like, "Oh, girl, you look good."
I'm
Slap each other,
always
but that's
uncomfortable.
cool.
When I was playing ball, I ain't like niggas doing that to me.
Me neither. I
really
stopped that
shit,
shit.
man. I was always advocate with
done it.
that.
Fuck basketball
It's happened
just
to me,
because
but
of
like
that.
I'm not thinking
Good
about
game.
those.
And I guess recently, I was out playing ball with my nephew. One dude like, yo, man, I caught his hand mid-air. I'm like, my God. Recently.
I've done it.
I mean, recently now. It's just like, dude, now it's just, I don't know what came over me. I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
He wasn't with
I'm
it.
sorry, that is hilarious.
I don't know. Once I get on the field or the court, is it different?
I feel you. I don't know. Maybe it's,
But
I don't
it's
know.
different. What I'm saying is the line between
Definitely.
women's interactions between each other and men's interactions are
Y'all
different.
get
No,
away
yeah,
with a
yeah,
lot
it is,
more,
it is. Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
more
true.
acceptable in
Yeah,
society.
But I feel like it's up to us again to disrupt that, right? I feel like, ooh, and
But
see,
no,
which
no,
is
you
what
don't
I love
gotta
about
disrupt that. It's
film.
okay,
Which
right?
is what I
You
love
don't
about
gotta.
film that's coming out right now, because there's a lot of film that's addressing the fact that men don't talk to one another. You watch Queen Sugar, you hear them talking about like how men, like sometimes you're sitting down there and you're playing cards and shit and you're having superficial conversations about games. Whereas like sometimes y'all are going through shit and you don't know how to talk to one another. You don't know how to ask the other person like what's really going on, or to give them advice based off of what it is that's happening. But I feel like that's something that we need to change, because if not, which leads me back to another conversation that we had a couple of weeks ago, just about like whether or not men or women hold more emotion versus like just having the ability to articulate their emotions a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I feel like I guess I said that to say, think about the type of world that you want your children to grow in, and whether or not like we are cultivating that world. Because if it is that you want your son to be able to give you a hug and be like, "Yo, Dad, I'm pissed off about XYZ," you're gonna have to start doing that shit, like, or creating an example, or being comfortable with at least doing that with other men, so that your son can see that it's okay, and it doesn't mean that like you're questioning your sexuality just because.
Well, I'm not gonna
I feel
do
like we have
that
to move beyond.
in my brief saying, "Yo, dude, I have something."
Is what I'm saying.
That's
It's
what.
just
That's what he
So
said.
move beyond.
That's
So
what
move
he
beyond
said.
that, because I think
So how do
move
y'all
beyond
do
that,
it?
because I think we said that we wouldn't do it in our drawers
like,
neither.
express myself.
I think-
I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm completely like I don't have any of those issues. Like I'm completely comfortable with myself. If I'm mad about something, if I'm sad about something, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, yo, I don't like this. This shit is bothering me. I never lived any other way. So I know, man. I have friends that are super reserved and super, but like I didn't grow up that kind of
That's
way. So
real.
like I don't have that male struggle. Thank God. Like shout out to moms or whoever's responsible for it. But like
I was about to
have
say
that. I don't care.
it's different, because
Definitely.
in many ways that's a privilege, because I feel like
is.
I feel like even moms have done that to their boys, right? They've told
Man
them,
up,
like,
boy.
man the fuck
Man
up.
up, boy.
Yeah.
Man up.
And we
do that?
I don't think
I
we
do
pay
that
attention
now
to
with
what
my
it
son.
is that like we're doing with boys when we do that shit. Like allow them to be boys.
Hell yeah.
It was this one Mary Jane episode that I really, really loved, because it highlighted how it is that how quickly we move like little black boys to being men, because we start calling them little man, right? Let that little boy live his adolescent life. Let him make
Yeah,
mistakes.
that's
Let him
true.
like play in the dirt, roll on the ground, blah, 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 and understand what that means. That's why they don't know. Like that's why emotions is something that's so hard to cling to and understand when you're an adult, because you never had the opportunity to do that.
I actually had
man.
a little conversation about that, because I call my son little man, but I tend to think that we are preparing them for the world, because this world is now like for a young black boy, they're deemed as men out in society. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like
That's real.
you have to have that certain type of code with your son, because you're preparing for something that's bigger than them out there that wants to see them fail. So it's a bit So I say it's a bit different when it comes to African American boys in this world.
We had the
But
opportunity
I
to have
will
this
say this
poet.
though, it's probably like the other side of that though. It is different, but I feel like what doesn't get talked about enough is how women kind of like also prey on young boys, and that's not cool. And I feel like a lot of men act like it's supposed to be accepted,
Okay. Like sexually.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys go through certain things that they're made to feel like they have to, and so you kind of eat it. But as a man, you have a low key resentment towards women, which is probably why you're abusive, which is probably why you treat women a certain way, because you were abused.
So you think
It's another like realm, but
It is,
I
though.
seen it this week.
It's a double
and
standard.
It's a double standard, but it's not right. It's not right
Is
to
it
kind of
though?
force sexuality onto young boys.
It's fucked up to say, but like if if like a 16 or 17-year-old girl has sex with like my 12-year-old son, I ain't really mad.
Yeah, we're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it right there. Another top. We're gonna leave it right there.
You know why it came up? You know why? Hold up.
But
we can leave it right there.
If a 17-year-old boy has sex with my 12-year-old daughter,
I was about to say, would you be upset?
Fuck out of Dodge, bro.
So you can't.
That's
like,
not
you
cool,
can't,
though.
You can't do that.
You know why? It
No.
came up this
I can't
week.
have a
It
baby.
is.
We
You know
different.
why? It
I
came
can't
up
have
this
a
week,
baby.
right? Where Trick
Yes, you
Daddy
can.
allegedly, Trick Daddy got his 16-year-old son
yeah.
a blowjob, and everyone was like, "This,
yeah.
that's disgusting, though."
What?
The
I
girl
wanted a blowjob
probably
when I
was
was
way
16.
older, so you got
So?
traumatized. I don't know, man.
But if
It's
you
not for
want it-
every guy. It's not for. Yeah, it might be for some boys. It's not for every boy.
Can y'all give me like a good segue? Okay.
Okay,
That was a
it's, next week we'll talk about it more.
segue into how can people find you?
Yes.
Well, you can find me anywhere, honestly. B.ankha.
I
Just
definitely
type
struggled
that in.
with that the first time.
I know, that's why I said it
We
when
didn't get you
I
to explain the
introduced
name.
myself.
That's dope. That is dope.
Yeah, I like
What does your
the,
name mean?
I like
Yeah,
the
explain.
explanation.
What does your name mean?
It's three meanings. The first meaning is the play off my real name, which is B.Ankha, just spelled differently. The second is Ankh, which means life.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first tape, which is around the time that we came up with my name. And it's just me. Like, I just live my life the way that I want to. Like, that's always been, even if you hear all of my music, like, that's what I'm constantly, like, promoting and putting out there. And Ankha actually means shy, beautiful girl. I didn't put it for the beauty part. I'm not being cocky or nothing like that. The shy part is the part that I take from it because of my performances. Whenever I do have a performance, wherever I'm performing at, I'm always like in the corner, like networking somewhere or just quiet somewhere. And then once I get on that stage, everybody once I get off, they're like, that was you that was standing over there or that was over here. Like, oh shit. Like, it's just like, I'm like silent but deadly. So that's my take on my whole name.
Dope.
So they can find you at B.AN.
Well, my Instagram is @_ B.ANKHA. My Facebook is @real B.ANKHA. YouTube, anything else is just B.ANKHA.
Dope. Appreciate
Dope.
it.
Yes, thank you
Websites
guys
coming
for
soon,
having
y'all.
me.
Websites coming soon.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you guys for
Yes,
having
yes.
us.
Thanks for
course.
pulling up.
Appreciate you, Genius.
Appreciate y'all, man. Good
Yes.
talk, too.
Good
Y'all
talk.
know.
Good
Yeah,
talk.
right?
Facts.
Good talk.
Thank you guys for coming. Episode 44, episode Michael Cage.
With the fofo.
Episode Sean Bradley.
Yeah.
Episode, that's all I got for now.
Sean Bradley wore 44.
He did. He wore 40. Damn, he wore 45.
Yeah,
So,
definitely he wore 44. I'm like, yeah, nah, you lying.
damn.
You ain't never meet Martin Luther King.
Yeah, yes, I did.
No,
Yo.
you did. No, you did.
Oh, real quick though. Did y'all see the trailer for Dolomite?
Hell yeah, I love
I
Dolomite.
didn't see it.
Niggas know I love Dolomite.
Totally,
Yeah.
man. Slacking, man.
So we're gonna leave on that note.
Yeah.
Episode 44.
Together.
Can
I don't know
someone
What is Dolomite?
at Q for Dolomite
I don't
trailer,
know
please?
either.
And we out.
And we out.
For real, what is it?
Nah, we gotta
No, yeah,
educate
what
you.
is it?
Damn, B.
A pimp movie?
A pen?